The Timberwolves fired head coach Ryan Saunders on Sunday midway through another losing season in Minnesota, which is normal. Things like that happen. Teams make abrupt changes all the time, but what is so bizarre about it is how they found their replacement. It wasn't somebody already on the Timberwolves bench, it was Chris Finch, who was already serving as an assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors this season. Not only did they hire Finch, but news broke that they inked him to a multi-year deal just minutes after firing Saunders. None of that is standard procedure. So how did this truly bizarre coaching hire happen? And why were some players around the league turned off by the move? Sit back, relax, and take this in. It would be an understatement to say that Coach Saunders was under pressure in Minnesota this season. Not only did the Timberwolves struggle in the 2.5 seasons Saunders was at the helm, only winning 43 of a potential 137 games, including having the worst record in the NBA this season, but he wasn't the quote-unquote guy that the front office hired. In 2019, the Timberwolves hired Gerson Rosas to become the president of basketball operations, and usually when a team falls under new management, they want a fresh start. Saunders had already spent half a season as the interim head coach by the time Rosas was hired, and despite the Timberwolves undergoing a hiring process for a new coach in that same summer, they opted to keep Saunders and ink him to a multi-year deal. The Timberwolves skipped all the pleasantries of hiring an interim coach this time around, firing Saunders after a loss to former coach Tom Thibodeau's New York Knicks and announcing Finch's hiring 30 minutes later.
That was fast.
Usually, when a coach gets fired midway through the season, a team will appoint an interim coach from within the organization before they start vetting the league for potential hires. The Timberwolves didn't. It's rare for a coach to be hired off another team's bench mid-season. The last time that happened, the Memphis Grizzlies hired Lionel Hollins in 2009, who was serving as an assistant for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Raptors even had to give permission for the Timberwolves to approach Finch. Finch had spent the last 4 seasons as an assistant for the Raptors, Denver Nuggets, and New Orleans Pelicans. And he and Rosas have ties that date back all the way to their days with the Houston Rockets, where Finch was the then head coach of the G League affiliate Rio Grande Valley Vipers and even led them to a championship in 2010, earning G League Coach of the Year honors and a spot on the Rockets coaching staff. Finch also interviewed for the Timberwolves job in 2019, despite the fact that Minnesota inevitably stuck with Saunders. Why not wait until the offseason to hire Finch?
Just gotta get to the end of the season.
It would have made it easier to pry him away from Toronto and given him a full summer to prepare and hire his own coaching staff. But also, the Golden State Warriors own the Timberwolves' top 3 protected lottery pick in the upcoming NBA draft. If Finch miraculously does turn this ship around mid-season, it could hurt their chances of retaining their pick in a loaded draft class. But this hire by the Timberwolves also raises another question. Why didn't they give a chance to one of their current assistants? Portland Trailblazers guard Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum both chimed in, questioning why current Timberwolves assistant David Vanderpool wasn't at least considered for the role. Vanderpool, who is black, served as an assistant for the Blazers for 7 years before being hired by the Timberwolves in 2019 and is widely considered to be one of the next head coaches in the NBA. So even if the Timberwolves were keen on hiring Finch, why didn't they keep Vanderpool on as an interim coach to allow for a smoother transition? For a league that is about 80% black, the management and coaching staff aren't very representative of the players on the court. Just last season, 3 black head coaches were fired from their jobs, and all of them were replaced by white coaches. Right now, there's only 9 head coaches who are people of color, including 7 black head coaches, and only 10 general managers who are non-white. The league has tried to address its diversity issue by hiring a chief people and inclusion officer in 2020, but just like the NFL, could the NBA have a Rooney Rule of their own that requires teams to interview ethnic minority candidates for coaching and management positions?
Wow, that's not such a bad idea. Great.
Lillard and McCollum echoed one of the growing criticisms of the NBA, that black coaches aren't perceived to be provided the same opportunity as white coaches. And the entire process of firing Saunders and hiring Finch seems like a slippery slope for future issues around tampering and poaching. So what do you think about how things went down? Let us know what you think in the comments.